Good afternoon, Psychology at Teachers College. Welcome. This is as far as we know, this is the first ever all psychology faculty student conference at TC. And if it isn't, let's celebrate anyway. So we'll start in 1 second. I just wanted to initially just poll the audience a little bit. There are something like 530 or 40 people registered for today, so there'll be a big crowd coming all day long. But if I can just get a sense of, can you give me a sense of like master's students? How many MA students are here? Very good. How about PhD students? Oh, good, you're representing, excellent. And faculty, how many faculty are here? Look at that. Wow, that's great, very impressive. And then how about alumni? Any alumni? All right. All right. And prospective students? All right, great. So prospective students meet alumni. Okay. I'm Peter Coleman, and I was a student here, took my master's and PhD here, and now I'm on faculty and am a professor of psychology and education. I direct the Morton Deutsch International Center for Cooperation and Conflict Resolution, and I chair the Psychology Faculty Coordinating Committee, which helped envision this process and launch this today, so I'll introduce them at some point. But first, we will be welcomed we have three dignitaries here who are fervent champions of psychology at Teachers College, and they're just going to welcome us. So Susan Fuhrman our president, Susan Fuhrman, will start us off.
Good afternoon. I feel so proud and privileged to see our psychology faculty, students, alumni, practitioners come together as one community as we showcase the expertise of our extraordinary psychology work at Teachers College. Today's inaugural cross-psychology conference is well-timed because every day we see more need in the world for good psychology, more and more challenging and distressing problems that seem to be growing more intractable. And psychology at TC is not only at the forefront in addressing these problems, but it also plays an indispensable role in all our work to advance teaching and learning for the betterment of all. As you know, I'm sure that psychology started when TC started, virtually at the same time. Thorndike joined the faculty in 1899, and John Dewey joined the faculty 5 years later. And from that point on, psychology has expanded our understanding of how students learn and how to create optimal conditions and opportunities for learning, healing, and positive human development. As today's conference will demonstrate, psychology at Teachers College is stronger, more cohesive, and more collaborative than ever. At our 4 breakout sessions, we'll learn how the unity of cutting-edge research and practice in therapeutic settings, families, organizations, and educational media inform advances in applied psychology. We'll see how and why a social justice framework leads for better outcomes for patients, communities, and society. A look into TC's global portfolio will show us how the lessons derived from our responses to everyday challenges and humanitarian crises are strengthening our capacity to promote mental health in communities at home and abroad. We will explore the exhilarating breadth and depth of cognition and learning research at Teachers College and learn about new tools and methods that are enabling us to probe more deeply into learning and to improve learning outcomes in every educational and social context. We'll also hear 3 outstanding keynote presentations. I'm in awe of the sheer intellectual firepower assembled here today, and I want to take a couple of moments to recognize the great minds behind this conference. First, the members of the Psychology Faculty Coordinating Committee. As a political scientist, you'll excuse a different social scientist entering your midst, but as a political scientist, I have great respect and admiration for institution builders. And the people on this Psychology Faculty Coordinating Committee did just what we would hope all people in institutions do. They work to make their institution function better for them. And in this case, it was to bring much more cohesion, coordination, and greater visibility to our outstanding programs in school psychology, developmental psychology, clinical psychology, counseling psychology, cognitive studies, and social and organizational psychology. This conference is a vivid example of the power of cross-disciplinary collaboration when this kind of work is encouraged, when incentives are provided, and when there is support. So please join me in a round of applause for the Psychology Faculty Coordinating Committee, and especially Peter Coleman, their leader, for their vision and their persistence. I'd also like to recognize our provost, Tom James, who supported here comes the acronym, the PFCC, on its quest to give psychology a stronger and more effective presence at TC. So thank you, Tom. And yes. And I'd like to salute all of our psychology faculty, students, and staff. You're part of our long, illustrious history. There are so many TC scholars and alumni who followed in the footsteps of Dewey and Thorndike in pioneering and revolutionizing fields of applied psychology. So, for example, our alumni include Carl Rogers, Albert Ellis, and Rollo May. And the lineup of transformational TC scholars also includes two living legends whose work and influence continue to motivate, inspire, and bring us together in common pursuit of social justice. And I refer, of course, to Morton Deutsch and Ed Gordon, and let's give them a round of applause. We all stand on the shoulders of these giants, but I also believe our current faculty, students, and alumni are making history in their own right by taking applied psychology in bold new directions. So if you'll just bear with me for a moment, just think of the distinguished alumni award winners who are outstanding practitioners and scholars in the field of psychology. Vivian Odo Wang has received presidential honors for her pioneering work in genetics, race, and racial identity in science policy. Social psychologist David W. Johnson is a world leader in conflict resolution and has literally written the books on how to make conflict in schools and organizations constructive and restorative. Our past Early Career Award recipient, Eric Scheinman, is a rising star in teacher preparation who is developing bold, comprehensive approaches for educating individuals with autism spectrum disorders. And just this past, and Eric, in turn, follows in the footsteps of the great Ruth Sullivan, a pioneer in the field of autism education and awareness. And just this past Distinguished Alumni Awards presentation just a few weeks ago, we had Lita Orzek from Social and Organizational Psychology, the founder of Hanky Panky, and Randy Bennett, a prominent educational measurement expert at the Educational Testing Service. So psychology flourishes. All those names are etched into Zankel Hall, and it helps you remember what a prominent place psychology has in the history and in the current life of Teachers College. Today, we come together as one community with one common purpose: to make communities in the world safer, healthier, more peaceful, and more just. So thank you and congratulations. And it's now my privilege to ask the co-chair of our Board of Trustees, Jack Hyland, who is a huge supporter of psychology at TC and wants to do everything he can to help all the trustees recognize the contributions of the psychology faculty, students, staff, and alumni. Jack Hyland.
Thank you, Susan. Good afternoon. I was surprised to see that amazing display on the screen. It almost, to me, looks like someone standing with their arms out, welcoming and joining forces. And so whether or not that's what lies behind the symbolism, I see it that way. I'm honored to be here. I'm also mindful of the rich intellectual fare that is being served today beside the lunches. And so I intend to follow the advice I was once given in a similar speaking role a long time ago. Be bold, be brief, and be gone. But in all seriousness, in my role as co-chair of the Board of Trustees, I've been privileged to observe so many talented faculty and students in action, and to witness the birth of exciting new fields that change the way we learn and think and engage with the world around us. And I would say there's no other institution that I know of that's anywhere near what we have here. I cheered the launch of the Sexuality, Women, and Gender Project and Latino, Latina bilingual concentration, saluted TC for launching the Eisenhower Leader Development Program at West Point a decade ago, and the Resilience Center for veterans and their families last fall. I'm extremely impressed by our work in education technology, including the launch of learning analytics. Proud of the work that TC's Global Mental Health Lab, especially in response to the refugee crisis, which is certainly not going to go away. And particularly impressed by the influence and prestige of the Morton Deutsch International Center for Cooperation and Conflict Resolution. I actually hold some hope that we can help in the extraordinarily sad and seemingly unending mess that the world is in, maybe this country too. I would apply the words awe, pride, admiration, and respect to the efforts and achievements of everyone in this auditorium. So put me down, please, as a long-term, unabashed fan of psychology at Teachers College. And I know, and on this I speak for all trustees, we know that if you keep giving us a lot to cheer about, the world in which we live will be a much better place, and we all will be better off. Thank you.